Hello and welcome to another 1v1 cast. Today we have aVeng3ance in the blue against KnacK in the orange. aVeng3ance is playing as the Mayans and KnacK is playing as the Persians. The map today is Four Lakes, which is our hybrid map, which has been recently added to the 1v1 map pool. And this is a ranked game on Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, and the elo of these players is around 1,150 to 1,170, I believe, at the time that the game was played. Um, this was sent to me by aVeng3ance. If you are playing Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition and you would like me to do some very bad casting of any of the games that you play, get in touch in the comments. I'll send you an email address and I'll have a look. So let's talk a little bit about the map and the civilizations and what we might expect from these players. So it is Four Lakes, as you can see. You've got these ponds, or lakes as they like to call them, in the corner of each of the in each corner of the map. The idea is that you should get a dock down nice and early, not instead of a mill in your Dark Age build, in order to make the most of this fish boom, because you can carry on producing fishing ships while the town centre is going up to feudal, so you don't have that idle time, and you can concentrate on gathering wood from villagers and then food from the fishing ships and take advantage of the investment into wood. You know, one fishing ship, if it collects 225 wood, as opposed to one farm, which costs a similar amount of wood, but is going to bring in a lot less food for the wood and needs to be refreshed constantly as well. So Persians, if I was looking at just the civs, is he going to lose the Ville? Oh, he lost the Ville! Oh, that's so unfortunate. You want to try and garrison your weak Villes as the ball comes in, but at this level, you know, we do make these mistakes. And what's going on here? What? Poor Orange is probably having a little bit of a flap right now because of what we see here. You know, he's only got 2 on the ball, and then we got quite a few. And he rang the bell. That's bizarre. Quite a few on different things. So it looks like KnacK in the orange needs to work on their Dark Age build order. Just get that nice and tight, because at this level that does start to make a difference to the build. But Persians are very strong on hybrid maps. They have a very strong economy. If we just have a quick look at the tech tree and go down to Persians, so their cavalry civilization, they start with extra 50 food and 50 wood. The town centres and docks have twice as many HP as your standard town centre and docks. They also work at 5% faster than 10, 15 and 20% faster. What does that mean? It means you're going to produce fishing ships faster, you're going to produce villages faster, and you're going to age up quicker. So they're a great economy civ from that point of view. The docks have an extra HP, really helps on a map like this, because you can dock your opponent's pond, which is what you always want to do. You want to dock safely at home, and then you want to contest the ponds that your opponent is going for to stop them being able to boom on water uninterrupted. And if you have a dock that has twice as much HP as your opponent's in Fuselage, that's going to mean that you're pretty much invincible on water. So strong pick by Orange, and definitely not a random pick. Mayans are still considered a fantastic 1v1 civ, you know, top tier by many of the pros. Let's have a look at what makes them so special. So they are an archer civilization. They start with an extra villager, but minus 50 food. Their resources last 15% longer. The archers are cheaper throughout all ages. The plumed archers are very good. And the eagle warriors get some fantastic bonuses. We won't talk about obsidian arrows at the moment. It just means that archers, which traditionally do minimal damage to buildings, get a bonus that enables them to start taking out smaller fortifications such as house walls, palisades, and other production buildings where archers normally wouldn't be able to do so. So Orange has scouted aVeng3ance's dock. Is he going to leave the sheep? Oh, quickly, steal them, steal them! And he's going to lose a scout here. That's unfortunate. But well spotted by aVeng3ance and good reaction. Ooh. But Orange is making it away with one sheep, and aVeng3ance coming in with the ball law. Very well done. And we can see we still got an absolute disaster over here. We can see the food is just... The reason that you want to go for one boar at a time and one sheep at a time, or one pig or llama or whatever it is that the game gives you, is that these herdables, or any animal that you kill, whether it be a boar, deer, or the herdables which you can control, they decay as soon as you kill them. So food starts to rot. So you can see the food ticking down. That is because it's being collected, but also because it's decaying as well. So the idea is that you want as many villagers on one resource at a time as possible to minimize the amount of food lost from decay. And it just looks like Orange is has made a bit of a faff with that by taking multiple animals at once. He's lost a lot of food to rot. But if we look at the villager count in the bottom, 22 each, despite Orange losing one. He's got he's got 2 idols, and obviously no military. Whereas aVeng3ance, nice tight build. Mayans do fall behind at the beginning very briefly, because you do start with four villagers and a scout, so you are immediately housed. So the build order for Mayans is different in that you need to get loom first, build your houses quickly, and then start collecting food and start going up. But we can see aVeng3ance is already 20% of the way to feudal age, and he's done so on 23 pop, which suggests that he's going to go for an archer rush. And if we look at KnacK in orange, he's on 26 villagers, which suggests that they are planning for a fast castle. We quickly pop to their view. Still not quite got the food to go to feudal. It's got the food now, and it's clicked up. But that 50%, that's about a minute's different. Can be the difference between winning and losing a game if your opponent does effective damage during feudal. And you can just see consistently that KnacK, while ahead with the villagers and ahead on the economy overall, has been a little bit more inconsistent with villager production and making sure that the villagers aren't idle. And you can see aVeng3ance is starting to get villagers and food, and accordingly fishing ships on food, and accordingly has changed the archer rush build to put more on food to sustain that fishing ship production together with archery range production. One comment I would have, because of this build, aVeng3ance hasn't got enough wood to put down 2 ranges immediately. Ideally what you want to do is be in a position that as soon as you hit feudal, you put down 2 ranges straight away, so that you can start producing archers out of both ranges, and you can get 6 out straight away. The idea is that you want to try and get the philosophy and the sort of theory behind an archer rush is you want 4 to 6 archers, preferably 6 archers, with a blacksmith and fletching to start running around doing damage to your opponent as fast as possible. And in order to aid yourself doing that, you want to put down 2 ranges. And aVeng3ance is housed. He's getting on that now, and we'll put him behind very briefly, but he has actually made up some of the difference. Down here you can see only 28 villagers to 30, but KnacK has 5 idols. What is going on? And has invested into a spearman. Now this is a really odd choice, because spearmen are a classic counter to scout rushes. But Mayans, who are a Eagle Scout Civ, if we have a quick look at their tech tree, the stable is all blanked out. They do not have access to the stable or any mounted units. And at this level, Orange should really know that. Orange has got things queued up, has got archers queued up in the range, but only one range, and at the back of his base. His base is not walled in at all, as opposed to aVeng3ance, who you can see is very clearly walling up as he goes to make sure he's safe at home. And now he's running 3 archers here, and he might already have the upgrade. And you can see Orange has panicked, and immediately queued 2 skirms after his archer. And now aVeng3ance has 8 military on the field, so 7 archers, the 1 Eagle Scout. And the reason that people really enjoy going for archer rushes is that because you're only investing into wood and into gold, you're not affecting your food production, so you can still get a relatively fast castle time as well. The minimum resources that you need to sustain a 2 archery range archer rush is 11 on wood and 8 on gold. So, but because Mayans have slightly cheaper archers, you can probably get away with just 7 on gold and still sustain constant production of archers while moving to the next stage. And a nice little bit of micro from both players there. You can see Orange is just trying to keep aVeng3ance out of his eco while he produces more, but get him involved, get him involved. Numbers are everything. And the help of this Eagle Scout just poking down the skirmishers. Skirmishers are the direct counter to archers, but aVeng3ance is just running. He just wants to do economic damage with these now while he booms behind us. He's got 6 villagers queued, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Whereas you can see Orange, in complete panic, has stopped queuing villagers entirely. And it's not looking good. Still got the 1 villager lead, but 6 of those villagers are idle. But he has now got 13 military, so 8 over here, and I'm guessing he got a little bit more over here. So what you want to do to deter an attack like this, either invest into a couple defensive towers, tower your gold, tower your woodline if they're threatened, and the skirms that you have, just put them in smaller groups and just have them patrolling around your vulnerable resources. So a few skirmishers patrolling there, but it does clear up this 1 attack quite nicely at the expense of all of that idle time. And I'm just going to switch to KnacK's view because, let's look at the economy. It's so unbalanced. Have a look at this. So much gold. You don't need 700 gold in feudal age. You only need 200 gold to get up to castle age. And almost got enough to click up now. But aVeng3ance, as we can see, is already 40% of the way there. Go on, click castle. You want to cancel this villager and go to castle. But he hasn't done so. Getting the castle is going to be the difference between... couldn't click castle because he didn't have the second feudal building up. That's really bad. aVeng3ance still has an Eagle Scout here, and after losing his military on the front, has remembered to take advantage of the ponds, so he's trying to secure map control now. Safely docked at home. Orange is just scouting this pond here just to make sure that no one is docked, and I imagine he's going to try and dock just here and try and boom on multiple lakes now to get back into this game. And if we look at the score lead, wow, it's a 500 point lead to aVeng3ance, so it really is at the moment looking like there is little hope for Orange. But at this level, 500 points isn't okay. More than 500 points is the difference between life and death. And look at this. I understand after you receive that feudal aggression why you would want to keep your army at home and why you're a bit hesitant, but if you've mopped up, start exploring, start trying to get a little bit of map control, because you can see more than anything what this has done for aVeng3ance now is let him safely boom at home, and now he's started to expand as well, and it's not being contested. And he's sending villagers forward now to produce what I'm guessing is to place down some military production buildings on the front so they haven't got to travel all the way from home to start causing more economic damage. And if I was aVeng3ance, I would be going for 1 range, 1, let's have a look at the resources that he's got. Oh, even better, he's going to contest them on water. But he's going to lose a vill to the wolf. And he might lose a second vill. He's got an Eagle Scout involved. Go on, quickly, poke, poke, poke. This is getting me inside. Oh no. 1 HP. That is horrendous. He must have been concentrating on something at home. Yeah, he's put down a second town centre. Where'd the rest of his stone go? Because he's only got 26, so that suggests to me that he spent 200 stone. Unless he sold 100 stone at some point and has only just started mining it. Not entirely sure. But again, balancing an eco is important. You can see he's putting his wood into fishing ships. I'm guessing they're coming out, yeah, coming out of both docks.
Shot it.
And he's just having a little scout in Orange's base now to see what's going on. But losing those two villages and not making the most of that castle age uptime has actually given Orange a little bit of a chance of getting back into this game. So we'll see how it goes. And that's where the extra stone and wood went. Another TC on this extra gold outside. But that's a lot of crossbows. 16, but 21 military from Orange. A lot of skirms. Castle age skirms for Persians are okay. But if we have a quick look at the tech tree, you will notice that the Persians do not get access to Bracer, which is the Imperial Age damage and range upgrade for archers. So they will suffer against any, as soon as, if this goes to Imperial Age, which I'm not entirely convinced it will do, Avengers will have complete, will have a civilization advantage over Persians, but Persians do get really good cavalry, which are a very effective counter to archer units as well. So, my word. So KnacK is actually doing really well on the economy. 62 villagers to aVeng3ance's 58, 59 now. It does consistently have, you know, slightly more villagers idle at any one time, but it's continuing to produce military units as well, or has been, and is now putting a stable up, which I think is a great decision by Orange. But aVeng3ance has snuck in, has quick walled his villager in, and is starting to build fire galleys, and this is going to be, it's just going to have to be another area that Orange is now going to have to invest in to fight aVeng3ance off. And if I was if I was Orange, I'd be so annoyed. You just fended off an archer rush, you put all of your resources into 18 skirms, I mean, which would more than deal with the 16 crossbows on aVeng3ance's side. But now your opponent has just teched into docks, which are going to leave your main 9 out of your 21 food gathering villagers, as they were, vulnerable to attack. And I don't... Wait, let me pause this quickly. Let's go to Orange's view. Let's put the fog of war on. Okay, so Orange does know there's a dock here, and there's a second one going up, and the flag indicates that something's garrisoned inside, but has not done anything about it. Not put a second dock up, has the wood and has the gold to tech into it, to fight this. They do need to fight this at home. Let's see if I can go onto view log. Nope, not working. What are they concentrating on? They're continuing to dock at home. And there's just Q2 fishing ships at this dock. But really, you need to get another dock up and fight this, unless you're just willing to lose all of this food. But that's a lot of wood to just throw down the pan. There's 9 times 75 wood, which is 690 odd, I think. Maths fails me right now, or arithmetic fails me right now. Let's have a look at the wider game now. aVeng3ance still with a convincing score lead of 400 points, so he did dip a little bit when he hit Castle Age, but it's coming back up now. I would have actually liked to have seen, together with these docks, an archery range near the front and a siege workshop. Use the crossbows behind something like a mangonel or a ram. A ram would be perfect against... A ram and a mangonel would be perfect, but even just putting a ram in place, it would distract the skirmishers, and then your crossbows would have a nice chance. You would also want to throw in a few spearmen or pikemen, maybe even a monk behind it as well, because yeah, Orange is teching into knights. But here we go, the attack begins. aVeng3ance waited till he had 3 fishing ships, and because but he's going to struggle to take out the dock in... actually, no. He's in Castle Age now. In Feudal Age, he would struggle to take out this Persian dock because it does have double the HP. You can see 3600 as opposed to 1800. But he can, if he clicks the galley upgrade, it does in fact upgrade your fire ships as well. And with those, he would be able to take out this Persian dock. No problem, but he's not being contested on the water. But the skirms are getting some value, but it's too late. He's lost everything now, and at this point, I would just abandon that and I would keep this dock safe. And maybe build a few preventative galleys as opposed to fire ships, because the galleys can shoot the villagers as they approach. But well played by aVeng3ance to recognise that he needs to take the aggression to Orange, both on land and also to prevent this fish boom as well. And he's lost a lot of... if I pause it here very quickly, losing those 9 fishing ships has put him massively behind on the village account, because that's 9 food collecting civilians that he no longer has, and aVeng3ance has continued to boom behind it and has now taken the villager lead for the first time in the game. And aVeng3ance is safely booming on this lake, taking this extra gold, taking this extra wood line, starting to farm around it as well. Be nice to see him. What I would do is build a monastery here, also build a monastery at home, send a monk here to collect the relic, and then send it back to the monastery at home, where it's nice and secure. Also collect this relic that's nice on the front. He does see this, doesn't he? Let's quickly skip to his point of view. And Fog of War, yeah, he sees it. Let's actually put that on. He hasn't scouted his top lake, so he's completely unaware that Orange is also there, fish booming there as well. So at this point, I'm guessing aVeng3ance believes that he's taken Orange completely off water. And aVeng3ance has decided, because of the lack of pressure in Castle Age, he's going to wait until Imperial Age and then take an Imperial Age fight to Orange and to hopefully win that convincingly. And he's done very well to house wall behind his palisades, because as soon as you hit Castle Age, both civilizations have access to units that will easily break through palisade walls. And if these knights got into this main eco, so if they broke into this wall here, took him off the stone, took him off his food, that would have been a much more effective use of the knights than just running into this town centre. But he does take 2 villagers, and aVeng3ance has teched into ballistics at the university, which provides much greater accuracy for ranged units hitting moving targets. It's a really important upgrade to get, especially when you know your opponent has a lot of mounted or fast moving military units. And Orange is going back home. He's going to shore this up. He's spotted all of his crossbows. Yeah, he's left his skirmishers at the back of his base. I would bring them forward. I'd have them patrolling around here and around this front here. He still hasn't walled at home. And because of that, 15 Eagle Warriors are just going to come streaming in. He's just hit Imperial Age. And they're just going to start. I imagine they're going to ignore the knights completely. And he's just going to poke loads of villagers. And you can tell he's concentrated on what he's doing with the eagles. He's not brought the crossbows up behind. He wants the castle in the middle. It's not too greedy of a castle. Oh, and he has docked here now, and he's going to take Orange off food on that lake as well. Orange does hit Imperial Age, which I'm actually surprised at. I didn't think this game was going to go to Imperial Age. I thought aVeng3ance was going to put a siege workshop down, put another range down, throw a few spearmen in there as well, and take the game in Castle Age. But he's done well. He's kited Orange onto this castle, and I just want to explain why that was such a good decision very briefly. And so in Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, you get an uphill advantage against your opponents who are fighting downhill from you. So the downhill opponent is doing less damage to the uphill opponent, and the uphill opponent is doing more damage to the downhill one. And what he's done is he's lured Orange into crossbows who are upgraded, got the +2 attack, so they've still got, I believe that's the Bodkin Arrow upgrade. Yeah, so I believe Bodkin arrow is in. Don't know without seeing it. You can see he's yep, he's definitely got that because he's got bracer. That's just about to come in as well. So they're doing extra damage. They're doing decent damage to the knights. The Eagle Warriors do have a small bonus towards mounted units. Not massive, but in combination of the two, well, the different factors. One, running uphill. Two, luring them into crossbow fire. And then three, using the Eagle bonus as a buffer so that the knights have to fight the eagles, which have a bonus against them, plus they're taking additional damage from units they can't even hit. It's just a really good play to see. And now Orange is trying to get out of there with as many units as possible. Not a good fight by Orange at all. Who is continuing to produce knights out of 2 stables. The Cavalier upgrade is coming in, continuing to produce villagers. 109 villagers apiece right now, and not too many idols by both. But Elite Eagle Warrior comes in. Are these going to go up to Arbalest, or is he going to tech into Plumes instead? That's the question. Vase of Vengeance now. I would just get more rangers up at the front. He's got so much wood. Build the castles along the front to secure position rather than to actually produce plumes, because you're already teched into 18 crossbows. It just makes sense to take those back up to Arbalest. Cavalier does come in, but I feel it's just too late. It's too late. What you would need now from Orange is a lot more Cavaliers, skirms and potentially onagers to fight this, or even go into Hussar, which are the upgraded light cav, because they're very good at, because they don't cost gold and you can just run them into and start splitting them up. But he's just taken KnacK off the stone, and if we quickly skip to KnacK's point of view, he was saving up for a castle, doesn't have enough stone to go for a castle. He's about 100 short, it's 650 stone that he needs, so he can't secure any of his economy with castles. He's got his town centres, but the town centres are going to soon become vulnerable to the amount of crossbows and the amount of eels coming in. And aVeng3ance is taking into chemistry and fire ships, so still fighting up here. I completely ignored that, but aVeng3ance is doing a great job at playing this as a hybrid map. Less so by Orange, who ironically is playing a civilization that is arguably much better suited for hybrid maps. So, very close villager count, a lot more idols from KnacK, and a much larger military from aVeng3ance. Double the numbers. His numbers also counter what's expected from Orange, and you can see he's thrown in a few halberdiers here so that the eagles can concentrate on raiding, and the halbs, which are a trash unit, can go in against Orange's gold units as a direct counter, and they should just mop this up. Brilliant fight here again. If you are using archers, put them on stand ground, keep them on top of the hill so they don't start running off into town centre fire. And just like that, KnacK's lost most of his military. aVeng3ance has lost, he went from 44 to 37, but he's now going to start mopping up villages as well. And the game is well and truly over. There's no way Orange comes back from this now. This Eagle Warrior has just taken out 1, 2, 3, and now 4 villagers. Got to get the 5th. None of them are garrisoned inside the town centre. He must have a gather point set there as well. So we just lost that Cavalier without that Cavalier doing so much as 1 piece of damage. He's trying to counter raid at home, but his castle has, if nothing else, acted as a early warning system for aVeng3ance. And look at this, he's got halberdiers in place to prevent the raid, and that's a GG. I can see now why aVeng3ance asked me to cast this match. It was really good. Orange, obviously a good player. I think it started to fall down in the Dark Age with, you know, taken from 2 balls plus multiple herdables at once. Was a bit messy, lost a villager early on as well. It's not so much that they overcommitted to skirms, but when they produced all of the skirms, they just had them sitting up here for all of Feudal Age and didn't go on the counter-offensive. Could have at least used that trash army to buy him time leading up to Castle Age. Constructive criticism for both players then. So, you know, Orange should have fought back on water. That was a really important source of food for him. And as opposed to Mayans, which are much more wood and gold intensive, Persians are a civilization that needs a lot of food. And if you look at how many, 40 on food, probably looking at in Imperial Age, you want at least 50 on food, especially if you're going to go into Paladins, or even if you're going to throw a few elephants in there as well, just to tank all of the crossbow shots. And look, there was no need by Vengeance to even upgrade these to Arbalest. Started checking into Plumes. Plumes are the better range unit of choice because they do have that mobility. And he did want to just run around and snipe villagers, which is very much a Vengeance's style. Did excellent jobs at raiding, did an excellent job of making sure he was protected and walled up at home, which Orange did not do. He just invited all of those raids in. Vengeance could have possibly have ended this game earlier if he hadn't lost those 2 vills over there that were trying to produce that dark. If he had done that damage slightly earlier, that would have broken Orange's economy sooner. He could have built a forward range and a forward workshop, thrown in a couple spears from back here just to protect them from being attacked by scouts, and even thrown in a monk just to convert to the odd knight or 2 that comes his way. But yeah, brilliantly played. It's a great example of the power of being aggressive in each age, playing each age to your advantage. In Castle Age, I actually think Persians would have had the advantage over Orange, but so, you know, even so, Orange probably should have tried to have fought it more in Castle Age, but on his terms. He was just very lucky that Vengeance didn't push him with siege, monks, spears, and the existing crossbow army behind that. If we look at the stats, I mean, that says it all already, but we'll just skip through them. 132 to 47. I mean, fantastic. Just anticipated all the right counters, created all the right units at all the right times. And if we look at food, we'd expect a Persian player to generate more food over the course of the game, because they are a more food intensive civilization, as I said. Lots of stone from a Vengeance. I mean, the Mayans need that because they can only produce the plumed archers from castles. Looking at the gold, again, you know, relatively even, but it's just Vengeance used his resources so much better all of the times. And I mean, if you looked at just this page at the end of the game, there's only a minute in it, but a minute is what makes the difference. It's not even like Vengeance brought out Trebs and Treb down a bunch of castles early. I mean, Orange never even had a castle. It was more so that it just shows how much more efficient, how much more proficient with the military that Vengeance had as well. He just put it to a much greater use as well. And then if we look, Orange had 125 vills, but consistently had more vills idle at any one time, and also lost lots more vills than a Vengeance. And if we look at the timeline doesn't really say much, but we're about to see that drop off dramatically if it went on for much longer. But yeah, guys, I really enjoyed casting this game. It was fantastic, very well played by Vengeance. Again, if you do want me to cast your 1v1s, drop me a comment in the comment section below. I'll let you know how to send your replays in. Hope you've all learned something, and I'll see you next time.